Welcome to the building of the TLR 8ight-E 3.0. Thank you to Rob for sponsoring this episode on my YouTube channel. This is his kit. I am going to build it for him. So when I'm done, this is his, of course, but I get to unbox it, build it, and show it to you guys. Alright, next we got to put the good old shock tower on. But first we need some of these little plastic pieces. Looks like we've got 4 screws to mount this onto the main plate. We also need to build our turnbuckles. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to mount the turnbuckles to the shock towers. So next we need to open up bag B7-E. Again, stab in, slide through, a sharp knife helps. Now in this package we have both steering and upper camber link. The upper camber links are going to be the larger size. See through here. The steering are going to be the smaller ones. So we'll open up the next bag. Now the larger size ones, which again are this size, so you can easily see that those are the correct ones, not these ones. Now all 4 of these are the same length. The only difference is the diameter. 2 are thicker and have longer threads. 2 are thinner and have shorter threads. The shorter 2 and this smaller diameter go with the small steering turnbuckles. The larger 2 go with the larger. So we can use the tool provided, a nice 5mm end, or we can use a pair of vice grips to hold this. We can clamp them in, and this way they shouldn't move too much. Now one thing to note, there is a little line. You can see it right there. That little line. We want this to be always pointed on the left side of the car. So that little line should always be on the left side of the car. With the car facing away from you, again like you're driving it, the left side. So when we do adjusting, it'll always be the same. Again, if they don't want to throw it on right away, you can always grab your body reamer and just ream out the top edge. This is angled, so it only does just the very outer edge. Just to bevel that so it'll have some room to bite in. You want to make sure that stays as straight as possible, and then we'll crank it in just so some of the teeth are showing. Again, I'll use a screwdriver once it's started so it doesn't cross thread, and we'll wind this one in to about there. Now that was the reverse thread going in, so the next one I do will be the normal thread. Again, I'm just going to give this a little bevel, and it helps align the threads straight as it can be. It will straighten out as it goes into it by extent, but as you can see, this one's going normal way, so I'm screwing it in clockwise. This is to allow the adjustability in and out from just the center point of the hex. Now let's see how we do. Now we're a little long still, so I'm going to crank in a little bit on each side, remembering that reverse way is in on the other side. And we'll just keep checking. To see when we're getting close. Pretty close. Now they do say 95.5 millimeters. There we go. And then we'll run this out here and see where we're at. Right now it's sitting at 95.8. So we only need to tune this just a little bit. We're getting real close. So I'm just going to do a little quarter turn there, quarter turn here, try to keep them in line. 95.6. That's pretty close. We'll adjust this from here as we go. So there's one built. Now we'll build the second one. Now looking at the drawing, we have a couple different objects here that we need to insert. One being a little pillow ball, a large pillow ball, and one being a pillow ball with a little foot on it. There we go. So the one with the little foot goes towards the inside, the one with just the ball goes on the outside. So the first one we can do without worrying about that little line, because for right now it doesn't really matter. And a big one of those. So, now making sure it's on the left side of the car. So again, facing front, we want this to be on the left side. So the left side of the car is, again, this side of the car. So there we go. So the lines on the left, as you can see, and so we're going to leave this on the left side. Now, in order to have, again, this one on the left side as well, we're going to put the inside piece with the little foot on the left side with the line. And then the regular ball. Like that. And there we have it. Inside, inside, and the outside is on the left. And we're going to put this one on. Before we get too far, we're just going to verify we have the right one on the right side. So there's the front of the car. The left side is over here, and that line is lined up on the left side. That line is lined up on the left side. So again, this is the front of the car, the left side of the car, sorry, the left side of the car is over here. That line is on the left side, pointing to the left, or on the inside. Over here, it's going to be on the outside. So I'm just going to run this down. And put our nylock nut on. So there's one. The other one, again, we'll go on this side, double checking, making sure that line is going to the left. Double check our screw, make sure the right one. We do good. Top inside, double dia. Like so. Another lock nut. And we'll bring that one home. It's far easier to work on them when they're out here than when it's on the car. Now we can put this on. Again, the smooth side goes towards the back of the car. And it just slides in like nobody's business. There we go. A little bit of a ridge to get over, but once it's over, there we have it. So here's our upper camber links, and the ball parts go into the socket here. And to get this in, we need these two pieces of plastic. These are just spacers. One goes on one side, and one goes on the other. Now these screws are the 8/6 screws, which are the shorter ones, which is easy to identify. These are plastic. So, like any other time you use those electric screwdrivers, you always make sure to put the last little bit in yourself. Just make sure you know how tight it is and you don't strip out the plastic. There's nothing like stripping out plastic and having to replace the case. So now what we can do is we can put in our screws for upper camber links. Now here's the only thing we have to watch out for, is these drive shafts. These guys right here, these drive shafts, need to be in place before we put these in, otherwise you're going to have to take it apart and do it again. So leaning the arms down kind of as far as they'll go, make sure to line them up so we go in. There we go. There they are. Bring these guys in. And what we need to do is just straighten the little ball inside, and it just slips in. It just fits in ever so nicely. And we'll take our two longest screws. Again, we can verify that by checking with the list. And then we can put it in. And they show putting it in from the front to the back, I believe. Yes, they do. So we'll do the same thing. Have to kind of wiggle this around. Slide that one through. And then we'll do the other side. I have to rotate this little ball just a little bit, make sure it slides in nicely. And then wiggle the screw until it goes in. A little bit lower there. There we are. Ta-da. And then it requires two nuts. And these are the small size nuts compared to the big ones. And then we'll grab our 1/4 inch and our screwdriver. Kind of a two-stage process, so you need to like screw them both together at the same time. And this is where I wouldn't go too tight, but just snug it up. Now the only other part they're talking about is the upper shock mount, which is these guys here. And they go in from the front, and they show to be on the middle hole. So on the front, we can just slide that in. Now this self-locks, so we can't turn itself. So you put your finger on it while holding the assembly, turn it over, get the large nuts. These nuts. Alright, so at the ready I have my 11/32 wrench. There you go. That needs to be fairly tight. And it does not need Loctite because this is a piece that has a nylock on it. And those are ready for the shocks. Again, the little line go towards the left side of the car. So if we're looking at the left side of the car, this is the back, this is the front, so this is the left side of the car. Again, all our ones that are here are on the left side, so it's a good reference to keep this out for reference. And so we're going to do the same thing we're going to do before. I'm going to bite down on here, and we'll see if these ones thread on nicely or not. Now these need to be 92 millimeters long instead of 95.5, and it seems still to be a little hard to get on, so I'm just going to take a little bit of edge off. So we'll take the edge off. It should be a lot easier to screw these on. And again, looking for just a little bit sticking out on either side. Lots of the thread in. It's a little bit smaller, so they're easier to do by hand. I'm just going to guesstimate that much. Now grab another one here. Just that's it. That's all we gotta get off. This one is the reverse thread, so it'll go in like so. You do enough of these, they get a little bit sore in the hand, so if they do get sore, grab yourself a screwdriver, stick it in, and we'll wind it up. The angle there looks pretty close. Get my guesstimating device, and we'll see what it comes out to. I'm looking for 92. So you want 91.3. Alright, so looking at our drawing, we have to do two different ball types, one with a double end, one with a single end. The single end goes on the inside, on both sides. Now, the one that's on the inside, for the left-hand version, is going to be away from the line. The one on the right-hand side is going to be close to the inside, so we have to kind of keep that in mind. So I'm going to do the right-hand side first. And we're going to just seat this one in like so. The little flange goes down. Now we won't do anything with this right now because that's going to be going to the steering. And the little angle is going to go on the right hand side. An up angle compared to flat because of the way they angle the arms. Don't forget that the line has to be on the left hand side. And then what we do is we put the double-ended ball on the other one. There we go. And how we attach that is we put a screw through the arm. It should just slide in ever so nicely. Like that. We need a washer. We include these nice, looks like 1 or 1.5 millimeter washers. Then we slide the double-ended version onto it, and then a nut. Now it is a lock nut, so we don't need to worry about Loctite right now, and we'll tighten this up. Again, making sure that line is on this side, and there's our steering arm. All nice. Now we'll do the other side. Again, I need my screw. Go to the bottom. Now the other one, again, because it's pointing left, we're going to move it back to the front. The double joint wants to be on the left side this time. Just push it down. Click. And the other side is going to have the flange going down. Like that. And again, the angle will be slightly up this way. And we need our bump steer shim, and our turnbuckle, and our nut. And there we have it. That is our front end. Now 2 more steps. Looks like it's all it is. So the rest is B. Because we have 1 more package. Yep, then we're on to C. So we have this package here. So what we need now is we need the chassis plate back. We also need the front bumper, which is from one of the earlier packages. And you'll notice in the very front, there's a spot for it to go. It's very nice, makes it nice and clean. But what we need to do now is get the steering arms out of the way. And you notice on the bottom, there is this nice little raised section. It goes into the hole here. And when you slide it in, kind of goes in and it will just drop in place. There we go. So once that gets in there, what we can do is we can put the bumper on. Now there's a couple steps. We have the bumper to go in, 4 screws, 2 go through the bumper into the front, 2 go through the back. So we're going to do the bumper side first, just so I have all my pieces organized. Slide the bumper in, holding the front clip, putting the front screw in, like that. Oh, jump back out. And we'll slowly tighten the first screw. Now I'm not going to tighten all the way because this isn't perfectly lined up yet. I just don't want this to fall apart. So now I'm going to put the 2 back screws in because that's not what's lined up perfectly. There we are. So the 4 screws are in there, and the front clip is basically on. Now with this shim, where this goes, underneath these 2 screw holes. It's kind of hard to do. That's why they give you a little tab on the very end. Alright, is that tab there? And we can just slide it in. And make sure it stays down. There we are. And then we can put 2 of these screws. Again, looking at the top, they're just 2 flat screws, or what we call the pan head screws. Okay, and the last part we do, which really isn't shown on here, is to attach the steering arms to our previously set up steering. And again, like I said, the flat part goes in the bottom, and they should just slip in here ever so nicely. Ever so nicely. And you can see there's a little divot here for the pan head screws. These are little conical looking ones. Now be very careful screwing these ones in because they're just tightening into plastic. All they have to be is just finger tight. There we are, there's one. I'll turn it around to the other side. It's handy if you can move the steering over. Again, we'll line it up so the flat part's down. That one's much better. There we have our steering. And as you can tell, it's pretty close to straight. Looks like it's a little bit toe out right now, so I might have to bring that back. Most buggies run a little bit of toe out anyway. I like mine about a 1/2 degree to a degree. But here's the front clip. This is B package done. The next job will be the middle section, and then the back, and we can fill in the rest. Click in the link below for all the build links. If you're looking for any of the components, they'll be listed below in the description. Have a good day.